Hey there, folks. Welcome back to our channel, Adeeb Siddiqui. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and often overlooked chapter of history, the India-Pakistan partition. The partition of India, also known as the Partition of British India, was the division of the British Indian Empire into two independent dominions, India and Pakistan. This event took place on August 14, 1947, when the British Raj was dissolved and the two new countries were established. This historic event had a profound impact on the lives of millions of people, shaping the course of history for both India and Pakistan. It's a story that deserves to be told and remembered, and we hope you enjoyed learning a bit more about it today.
All right, strap in everyone, because today we're going deep, like really deep, into one of the most pivotal moments of the 20th century, India gaining independence and the partition that came with it.
A moment that really reshaped the world.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And we've got a ton of fascinating sources to dig through, historical records, personal accounts, even some old newspaper clippings.
Oh, wow.
All shedding light on, two towering figures, really, Mahatma Gandhi and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Their visions, their clashes.
It's often portrayed as this simple good versus bad kind of story. But it's so much more complicated than that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So many layers to unpack.
Exactly. And that's what we're here for, to, peel back those layers and reveal a story full of drama, political maneuvering, and the very human cost of, well, a nation being divided.
A story many people think they know, but trust me, there are some real surprises waiting for us.
Yep.
So to understand all this, let's rewind a bit, set the stage. India before independence.
Right, before 1947.
It was this incredible mix of cultures, religions, languages, all under, of course, British rule.
And the British, they weren't shy about using those differences to their advantage.
To hold on to power, you mean?
Exactly. A prime example, think back to 1905, the partition of Bengal.
Ah, right, Lord Curzon.
Yep, a very calculated move to, well, exploit religious tensions. This wasn't just about lines on a map, It was about sowing discord, driving a wedge between Hindus and Muslims.
Weakening the whole independence movement.
Precisely. So those were the seeds, right, of division. And into this already complex situation walks, a young lawyer by the name of Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting.
Buckle up. Because Jinnah, the man who would later become, synonymous with Pakistan, he started his career actually championing Hindu-Muslim unity.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Famous for his sharp mind, always impeccably dressed, and with this unshakable belief in a united India. He even criticized the Muslim League, for demanding separate electorates from Muslims.
Wow, so he was practically the poster boy for a unified India.
Pretty much. So the question is, what changed? What led to this dramatic shift in his thinking?
Yeah, what happened?
Well, it wasn't one single event, right? It was more this gradual disillusionment, I guess you could say. See, as communal tensions rose through the 1920s and 30s, Jinnah became more and more concerned with what he saw as, the Congress Party not really addressing Muslim concerns.
So he felt like Muslims were being ignored, their voices not really heard in this push for independence.
Exactly. He felt like their interests were being sidelined. So even though the call for freedom from the British was uniting many Indians, it also revealed these fault lines, within the independence movement itself.
Division even within the fight for freedom. And on the other side of this growing divide, you had, of course, Mahatma Gandhi.
Now, Gandhi's approach was completely different. He truly believed in an India where Hindus and Muslims lived side by side in harmony, where religion was a personal matter, not a basis for, political separation.
Gandhi, he believed in the power of nonviolence. His whole philosophy, Satyagraha, was about resisting injustice peacefully, through truth, through love. And that resonated with millions, not just in India.
Oh, absolutely. But it wasn't just passive resistance. Gandhi, he really understood the power of symbolism, of capturing people's imagination. Like, take the Salt March in 1930.
Oh, yeah.
Gandhi, along with thousands of followers, walked, get this, over 240 miles to the coast just to make salt, to defy the British salt tax.
240 miles for salt?
Yeah.
That's dedication.
It was a powerful statement. Think about it. This, frail man leading a peaceful march, challenging the entire British Empire, and with what? With salt. It grabbed headlines all over the world.
Exposed the injustice of British rule, for sure.
Exactly. It wasn't just about salt, right? It was about dignity, self-reliance, the right of Indians to determine their own destiny. And then, of course, there was the Quit India movement in 1942.
Yes.
Gandhi, now this revered figure, he calls on the British to just quit India. Plain and simple, a huge turning point. The movement, even though it was met with, brutal force by the British, it showed them their time in India was coming to an end.
So you have these two contrasting figures, Gandhi, unity, nonviolent resistance, and Jinnah becoming more and more convinced that a separate Muslim state, well, that was the only way to protect his community. It's fascinating, but also kind of tragic, this clash of visions.
Absolutely. And this clash really comes to a head in the years leading up to independence. Remember those 1937 elections we mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Well, the Congress Party, they win big, huge victory for the independence movement, right? But it really unsettled the Muslim League.
They saw it as a sign, right, that a unified India would be dominated by the Hindu majority.
Exactly. And that, well, it just fueled their demands for a separate Muslim nation even more. Then World War II comes along, throwing another wrench into everything.
Oh, yeah.
The Congress Party, they demanded full independence, in exchange for supporting the British war effort. But the Muslim League, they saw an opportunity. They offered the British unconditional support.
So even though they were both fighting against British rule, the war just highlighted their differences even more.
Yeah, pushed them further apart. What a tangled web. And then 1946 rolls around. A year of rising tensions and a truly tragic turning point. Tell me, do you know about Direct Action Day? It was supposed to be a show of strength by the Muslim League, a way to really push for that separate Muslim state, but it went terribly wrong.
It turned violent, didn't it?
Yeah. In Calcutta, what started as demonstrations and protests escalated into horrific violence. The Great Calcutta Killing, it's called. Thousands dead.
I've read about it. A dark chapter, for sure.
A real turning point, I think, showed just how quickly religious tensions could explode into violence. And the impact was huge. I mean, it sent shockwaves throughout India, pushed them even closer to partition. The British, they were facing their own challenges after the war.
Yeah, rebuilding and all that.
Exactly. And they decided, maybe it's time to speed up their exit from India. So, enter Lord Mountbatten.
Ah, the last viceroy of India. He had a tough job, didn't he?
Oh, imagine the pressure. Arriving in India with this mandate to find a solution, and fast. But the situation was volatile. Communal divides were deeper than ever.
Like trying to put out a fire with a water pistol?
Basically. So what did Mountbatten do? Well, in June of 47, he announces the plan to partition British India. Two independent dominions, India and Pakistan.
The decision made out of necessity, then?
It was a desperate attempt to, stop the violence, prevent even more bloodshed. But how do you even begin to divide a country like India? So much diversity, so much intertwined history. It seems impossible. It was a logistical and emotional nightmare. The Radcliffe Commission, they were the ones tasked with drawing the boundaries, and they had weeks to do it, using outdated maps, relying on religious demographics that didn't really capture the complexity on the ground.
A recipe for disaster, you could say.
It was a very flawed process, but August 1947 arrived, and with it, the birth of two new nations. But the cost, the human cost, it was immense.
Partition led to one of the largest mass migrations in history, right?
Millions uprooted, forced to flee their homes, cross newly created borders just to find safety, families torn apart, communities shattered, and the violence, it didn't stop. Tragic stories everywhere.
People leaving everything behind, their homes, their livelihoods. The stories from that time, they're full of pain, loss, but also incredible resilience.
One story that always sticks with me, it was about a young woman who had to flee her family's home in Lahore. She described the journey as like walking through a river of blood. Haunting.
It's hard to imagine the trauma, and it's almost ironic, isn't it? Both Gandhi and Jinnah, they met their ends not long after partition. Jinnah, he died just a year after seeing his vision of Pakistan become reality.
A huge blow to the newly formed nation. They were dealing with so many challenges, setting up a government, managing the influx of refugees, figuring out their identity.
And Gandhi, the champion of peace, he was assassinated just months after India gained independence.
It's a cruel twist, both these figures who played such crucial roles, gone so soon. It just highlights, I think, how fragile peace can be, especially after such upheaval.
Yeah. Their deaths, it left a void in both nations. Makes you wonder how things might have unfolded, if they had lived longer. So looking back at all of this, what do you think their legacies are? How did their different visions shape the paths of India and Pakistan?
Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence, it still inspires people worldwide. Satyagraha, it's a powerful tool for social change. And his message of peace, tolerance, it's more relevant now than ever, do you think?
In India, he's revered, isn't he? The father of the nation. His ideas, they're woven into the fabric of modern India, democracy, social justice. His impact reaches far beyond India's borders, though. Think Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, inspired by Gandhi.
Incredible, right? How one man's commitment to nonviolence had such a global impact. Jinnah's legacy, it's more complex.
In Pakistan, he's seen as the founding father, a champion of Muslim rights.
And he did achieve his goal, a separate Muslim state. But it came at a price, you know? Partition brought displacement, violence, and this ongoing tension with India. And Jinnah's vision of a secular Pakistan, it hasn't fully been realized. They've struggled with religious extremism, political instability.
So both their legacies are tied to the successes and struggles of their nations. It's fascinating how two individuals in the same historical context could have such different impacts. The partition of India, it was a major turning point, wouldn't you say?
A watershed moment. And we're still feeling the ripple effects today. Their contrasting visions, they shaped the subcontinent, really. And their legacies, well, they continue to be debated, reinterpreted.
You know what really gets to me in all of this? It wasn't just about politics and borders. It was about people. Real people, families, communities ripped apart.
It's easy to forget that sometimes, right? You get caught up in the grand sweep of history.
Right. But in all our research, what really brought it home were the personal stories, the individual experiences.
Absolutely. I mean, we can talk about millions being displaced, but it's those individual accounts that truly capture the human cost.
Exactly. Like, I remember reading about this one family who had to abandon their ancestral home. It ended up in Pakistan. And when they got to India, they were met with suspicion, hostility.
Oh, heartbreaking.
Their sense of loss, of belonging just shattered. Really makes you think about what home even means, you know? When the place you've known your whole life suddenly becomes a foreign country.
Right, where do you belong then? And it wasn't a clean break either.
No. The partition left scars, and they haven't healed. Not completely.
There's the physical displacement, of course, but the psychological impact, too. Having to choose a side practically overnight. Facing suspicion from people you've known your whole life.
It's hard to fathom. These were ordinary people, forced into impossible choices.
Absolutely. We get focused on the big picture, the political strategies, the clashing ideologies. But it's those personal stories that remind us what this really meant for people.
Right, the real weight of these events. But you know, one thing that struck me was how, in the midst of all that chaos, there were also acts of incredible resilience.
Oh, for sure. I mean, alongside the darkness, there were also stories of remarkable kindness. Hindus sheltering Muslims, Sikhs helping their Hindu neighbors escape.
It's like even when everything's falling apart, the human connection, it couldn't be totally extinguished.
It's powerful, isn't it? Those small acts of courage, of compassion.
Makes you wonder if those acts, you know, they can help counter the hate, the division.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, there's always hope. There's always that possibility for human connection to bridge those divides. So where does that leave us? We've explored this tangled history, the contrasting visions of Gandhi and Jinnah, the political maneuvering, the tragic consequences.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's crucial to understand this complexity, to really grasp the forces that shape the subcontinent, you know? They still influence the relationship between India and Pakistan today.
Because history isn't just something in the past, is it? It's woven into the present. Shapes identities, politics, relationships, everything.
For sure. So, as we wrap this up, what stands out to you? What's the big takeaway for our listeners?
I think for me, it's realizing that even these seemingly impossible divides, they're ultimately created by human choices.
Yeah. The things people say, the actions they take, the decisions they make, they have this ripple effect, you know? They can change the course of nations.
So it's a powerful reminder, isn't it? Even when it feels like things are out of our control, our choices matter. And understanding history, really understanding it, well, it helps us navigate the present with more empathy, more awareness.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So we've delved deep into the partition of India, a story of contrasting visions, political turmoil, immense human cost, but also a story of resilience, of hope.
And as we close, I'd like to leave you with this. We've seen the complexities of the past. Now, how can each of us help build a future where this kind of division, this kind of violence doesn't happen again? Something to think about.
We hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on this pivotal moment in history. Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep learning. Until next time.